What's up guys, Frank Fulci back again, and this time we're doing another every horror movie I watched in video, and this time it's going of course to be the month of April, since it is now May. Before we jump into all these movies, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you are not already a subscriber, and click on that bell icon for all future notifications of future uploads and videos and all that good stuff. So let's jump into this, guys. If you've seen these before, you know they're a little more long-winded than my normal haul videos. So grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a drink, whatever you need to get through this. I'm not gonna try to make it too long, but I say that every time, and I know it's always over at least 25 minutes. But this time I didn't watch that many movies. I feel like I've been saying that for a couple of months now too. But again, let's get through this. As I always say, disclaimer of any kind. Some movies I will remember more about than others, but I think I have the gist of all these down pretty much in my head. I went over them while I was making this list. Also, so you know, I have my laptop here in front of me just for notes, titles, directors, all that kind of stuff. So if you see me looking down, that is why. Now, like I said, grab yourself a drink. I'll probably be sipping on and or clearing my throat multiple times on top of coughing throughout this video. I don't know if it's allergies or what's going on, but my throat has been really weird lately. So if my voice sounds different, that's also why. But let's jump into this, guys, and hopefully you stick to the end. Overall, this was a pretty good month. There was a couple that I would say to pass on, but we'll get through those as we get to them. The first one being, I watched on the 3rd of April, Rotten Tail. Now I think this was a day before Easter, if I do recall. And Rotten Tail is a movie from 2017. Is directed by Brian Skiba. I watched this on Blu-ray. I don't believe it's streaming anywhere, but this, of course, again, Easter related. I think the name of the town is like Easter Falls or some shit. The name of the main character is Peter Cotton, and that is played by Corin Nemec. Now, the funny thing about Corin Nemec and the character of Peter Cotton, he is some sort of animal research scientist or geneticist of some kind, and he ends up getting bitten by a bunny. So throughout the film, he transforms into this giant fucking killer rabbit, basically. But Corin Nemec and the character of Peter Cotton, for some odd reason, reminds me of a cross between Herbert West, which that part is done on purpose, but the actor himself reminds me of Johnny Knoxville. A lot of the faces he makes and the mannerisms and stuff that he uses throughout the film. So it's pretty uncanny comparison. But the movie overall is not as good as I wanted to be. It's like an hour and 45 minutes or some shit. It could have easily been a half hour shorter, and I still think it might have been too much. The story is kind of all over the place. There's a lot of characters that I really did not care for. The acting is good though, like for what they're given, the acting is good. Like I said, Corin Nemec, the main actor here, is really good in his role, but it's just a silly ass movie. The special effects are really good, and it does receive bonus points in my book for having a lot of twisted tracks on the soundtrack, and randomly enough. It's like more than halfway through the film, they first play the first twisted track, and I'm like, all right, and then like 3 more times after that, there's another twisted track. So I'm like, all right, it's a little weird spacing of the score here, but I'll take twisted in a movie any day. But yeah, guys, that one's probably one of the more skippable ones. I think there's one other one that I'll tell you to skip, and then that's it. But like I said, we'll get to those. So the next day, on the 4th, I watched a film called Stay Out of the Fucking Attic, or if you look it up, it might just be called Stay Out of the Attic. This is a film from 2020, directed by Jaron Lauder, and I watched this on Shudder. I do hope to get the Blu-ray of this one day. I know Shudder, for the most part, puts all their movies out on Blu-ray. At least that's what I've seen in the past. I believe this one will eventually get a Blu-ray release if the trend continues. But this one was actually really good. This is about a group of ex-cons, and they are now part of this moving company, and this is basically their second chance to have a legitimate job and whatever. So they get hired to do this moving job, move furniture out of this house of this old guy. And this old guy ends up being, spoilers, kind of. Old guy ends up being an ex-Nazi, pretty important Nazi person in that realm of Nazi World War II type shit. So it turns into a shit show, to say the least. And that these 3 ex-cons get themselves into all sorts of trouble within this house. They're already freaked out because as they're finding like German fucking literature and all this stuff, they're like, things aren't right. But then they run across his experiments. This doctor is doing wild, crazy experiments on humans. So their experiments are throughout the house, and obviously the name of the movie, stay out of the fucking attic. They don't want to go in the attic, and they eventually get their way up there, and yeah, like I said, shit gets crazy. Really great special effects. I really enjoy this one. It's a fun movie. You don't need to take it too seriously. I saw some people on Facebook saying, you know, I wouldn't rewatch this. I would definitely rewatch this one. This was a really good one. Again, yeah, you know, some of the stuff is kind of out there, but what isn't in horror movies these days? So yeah, definitely recommend Stay Out of the Fucking Attic. Again, Shudder. I'm still waiting to find a Shudder movie that I don't like, guys. And you'll see there's like 1 or 2 more on here that, you know, same story. Now, like I said, I didn't watch that many films. There's a few more, obviously, I got to talk about. But from the 4th to the 13th, that's the next time I watched a film. So on April 14th, I watched the movie Homesick from 2007. Now, this is directed by Adam Wingard, the great, in my eyes, great director, Adam Wingard. I watched this on DVD. There is no Blu-ray of this, as far as I know. This DVD was put out by Synapse. Now, I'm pretty sure this is Adam Wingard's first film. So, of course, I knew it wasn't going to be as good as the newer ones, but I just wanted to see where he started. You know, see if there was any hint or, you know, any glimmer of the awesomeness that he has become. Obviously, his most recent one was Godzilla vs. Kong, and I fucking love that movie. I've already mentioned it a couple times on the channel, I'm pretty sure. But, Homesick was not good, guys, unfortunately. Now, it had some things going for it that were really good. Really great special effects. Of course, if you know Adam Wingard's other movies, You're Next, The Guest, his segments from the VHS movies, things like that. He's really creative. He's a really great director. So you know that his style, again, there was glimmers of it here. You know, obviously really low budget version of his work, but so the special effects were probably the best part of it. They were like awesome, just crazy gore effects. The story itself is this guy, Mr. Suitcase, is how he's credited, and played by Bill Moseley, but Bill Moseley is only in it for about 3 minutes most. There's a group of friends that are gathering for a little hangout, like during Christmas time, so I guess technically this can be considered a Christmas horror movie, although there's no really other Christmas themed stuff in it. But Mr. Suitcase crashes the party, and he has a suitcase full of razors, and he basically holds them hostage, I guess you can say, and he's like terrorizing them with this fucking suitcase of razors, and he's asking them, like, I'll leave if you just tell me who you hate, like, who do you want to kill, like, who do you want to die? And just to shut him up and like get him out of there, they tell him like, oh, I hate my boss, I hate this guy, I hate this guy. And they're like, oh, that guy's fucking crazy. You know, he leaves, and eventually throughout the movie, these people end up actually dying. So they die in weird ways. I don't even remember. I pretty much put this movie out of my head. I mean, it was only a couple weeks ago, but I really don't remember much about it. Other than that, I just didn't enjoy it. I was hoping for the, you know, the best, and it just kind of got the worst. But I said, Bill Moseley is in it for not for very long. Tom Towles, who those two guys will come up later in my list here, but Tom Towles is in it a little longer. He plays one of the uncles of and the dad of like 2 of the characters. He's kind of fucking out there. And Tiffany Shepis is in it more so than the other ones, and I believe she gets topless in this one or something, so that's a plus. But, I mean, again, her performance is pretty good. Bill, for as little as he's in it, it's pretty good. Just typical Bill Moseley, nothing mind-blowing. And Tom Towles, again, he does good, but his character's kind of fucking weird. But, yeah, this one's skippable, guys. If you want to see Adam Wingard's earliest movie, like I did, I'd say give it a watch, but don't expect much. But there are some people that love it. I had comments on my Instagram post about it, like, oh, I fucking love this. So, depends where you're at, you know, what your opinion of things is, but 2 days later, on the 15th, I watched a film called The Day of the Beast, or El Día de la Bestia, from 1995, directed by Alex de la Iglesia. Now, I watched this on 4K UHD, which was recently put out by 7 Films. This director is known for a lot of things. I only know him from, the only other movie I saw of him was Witching and Bitching, which I reviewed for the website years ago, but it's a blend of horror and comedy, and that seems to be what his specialty is. Now, I also own a movie of his that I didn't watch ever yet, called The Last Circus, that I know a lot of people are a fan of. He's also done some other ones. Severin just put out another one, and I think they plan on putting out more. But again, very well-known actor, or director rather, not actor, but I don't know. I think I might have missed the boat on this one. I think if I saw it sooner, you know, it's from 1995. If I saw it earlier, I might have loved it more, but I think the hype by everyone else like kind of killed it for me. I thought it was good. Day of the Beast is about this theologist, this guy who has studied religion and things. I guess he's an ex-priest or something, or a shunned priest from the, you know, shunned from the church. He's studied basically the apocalypse, the coming of the Antichrist for 25 years, and now he thinks he's figured out the day and time that it's coming. which is like Christmas Eve or some shit, and he's trying to do evil to like make contact with Satan to prevent Satan's child from being born. So he starts walking around stealing shit from people, trying to get into fights. Now he's just a little guy, he's not like this big brooding menace, but he's just trying anything he can think of to see the face of evil, to make contact with Satan. So things don't really work out. He enlists the help of a record store clerk who's like this awesome metalhead, really long fucking hair. It's a pretty great character. And with the help of that metalhead guy, he gets in touch with, there's like this TV occultist guy who's like famous, you know, all throughout TV, late night TV and shit. And he's known for reaching the dead and doing exorcisms and all this shit. So they get into all sorts of hijinks with this guy. Again, effects are really good, the acting is really good, and it's a horror comedy mix, but I don't think it's for everyone. I think, again, it wasn't really for me. I thought it was good. I'm glad I watched it, and Severin did a really great job with the restoration of the film, but not one I'm going to be rewatching anytime soon. But let me know in the comments, guys, how you feel about that. I know a lot of people love it. I really have never heard anything negative about it, and not that I'm saying anything too crazy negative, but again, it wasn't one that I'm going to be revisiting very soon. Let's take a little break here. The next day, on the 16th, I watched a film called Trauma from 1978, directed by Leon Klimovsky. Now, it sounds like a German name to me of some kind, but it's actually a Spanish director, and it's a Spanish-speaking film. It's a giallo, basically. This I watched on Blu-ray from Vinegar Syndrome, by the way. This is part of Vinegar Syndrome's, I believe it's the first Forgotten Gialli box set. I finally started diving into those. I have so many fucking Blu-rays that I've never watched, especially Vinegar Syndrome ones, so I was like, I was in the mood for a giallo. I said, let me start diving into this, and I'm glad I did, because I really enjoyed this one. Now, from what I understand, this is the best one of that first box set. So maybe I screwed myself over by starting with the best one, but again, maybe I'll like those other ones more so than other people. But Trauma is basically about this writer who, he's trying to get away from like the busy city life, and he's trying to go to a more secluded area to get, you know, free his mind and be able to work on some writing material away from the hustle and bustle of, you know, busy life. And he stops at like this bed and breakfast, basically run by this woman and her husband. Now, throughout the film, you never really meet the husband. She always keeps telling the guy, like, oh, my husband would love to play chess with you, and, you know, after dinner tonight, he'll play chess or whatever. So the guy's always like, yeah, I'll play chess whenever he's ready. But you never really see the husband. And the woman and this guy, this guest, the writer, they form this weird relationship. And I don't know, he says he's married, and later on you meet his wife, and obviously she's married and all this shit, but the relationship is very odd. And then there's other guests that come and stay at the bed and breakfast, but the woman who runs the place gets like really jealous, and she like doesn't want them around. So anyway, guys, I said this is a giallo. Eventually the other guests start turning up dead, and it's basically a typical giallo in terms of lots of nudity, which is always great by, you know, by my standards, of course. The stereotypical, you know, first-person camera with the black gloves and the blades as the main weapons, you know, switchblades and, you know, knives of some kind. So if you're a giallo fan, you're gonna like this one for sure. I loved it. I thought it was great. Some of the pacing may be a little off, but a lot of giallos are like that. You know, blasphemy, I know, I hate to say it, but the pacing in a lot of giallos and these proto-slashers are kind of slow sometimes. So this, you know, suffered from that same, you know, trope, I guess you can call it, or the same characteristic. But again, overall, really good. This one does, so it's like typical giallo mixed with, I was getting a lot of Psycho vibes, you know, especially with the bed and breakfast hotel type setting and things like that, and just the way the characters are. I don't want to spoil it anymore, but you'll see, I'm sure you'll get that same vibe if you end up watching this, which I definitely recommend. If you own that Vinegar Syndrome set and you haven't watched this one, or this may even be on Tubi or something else. I know there's a lot of movies with that same title, but if you find one from 1978 and this director, you know it's the one. Next up on the 17th, I watched a movie called Spiral. Not to be confused with the upcoming Saw movie called Spiral, but this is from 2019, directed by Curtis David Harder. And I watched this on Blu-ray, but this is also a Shudder movie. It's on Shudder, so you can watch it there. You don't have to worry about buying the Blu-ray or anything, but you know me, I'm a physical media guy. So yeah, I watched it on Blu-ray, like I said. So this one is about, this one's funny too, because again, I said I've been looking for, like, I'm waiting to see a bad Shudder film, because every one that I've seen, I've loved them. And they're always different, and I just love them in each, you know, in different ways. But this one started off kind of slow, and like, I was like, oh, this is a typical horror story. It's about a same-sex couple, so not a typical situation or typical characters, but atypical characters put into typical situations, right? So a same-sex couple and their daughter moved from the city to the suburbs to live a quieter life, get their daughter away from, you know, bad people, whatever the fuck you want to call them, and just live a quieter life, whatever. So they're also an interracial couple, so they have that going against them too. And it takes place in 1995, so not the most modern, but it could have taken place now. You know, prejudices and phobias and things still exist. But this basically, like I said, starts off kind of like, oh, this is the typical thing. The one husband loves it here. He loves the neighbors. He thinks they're all nice people. And the other one is like seeing things that the other husband's not. So he's like, oh man, these people are a little crazy. They're doing some weird cult type shit. But it's the whole, like, you don't know if he's really crazy or if these other people are the ones that are crazy, you know? Like, is he just making this shit up? Is he seeing things that are not really there? Again, it's a trope that's been done before as far back as, you know, Rosemary's Baby, right? She thinks that all this crazy cult shit is happening and nobody believes her. She just must be making it up. So that's kind of what's going on here between the two husbands. And eventually you find out that he's right, obviously, right? Like, the one that thinks there's crazy shit going on. There is crazy shit going on, but the end of this movie is fucking fantastic. I didn't see it coming. Again, I was like watching this like, man, this is definitely finally one of the weaker Shudder films, but it ended up being amazing. I loved it. And it's just like the commentary that's there, like, again, I've told you guys this in the past. I don't really look for hidden meanings and things like that. And even if it's not that hidden, still, I'm just like watching for what it is on the surface, you know? But once you sit back and like really try to take it in, like, this film is a great, I mean, and they even mention it, like they say it outright, like, it's a great way to see how people react to their fears and their phobias, right? Like, people that don't understand gay couples or interracial couples or just, you know, foreign families to begin with, like, their fear turns them into hate mongers, and they just fucking, like, they're just so prejudiced that they do evil, stupid shit, right? So that's kind of what the message of this is, and there's just a supernatural twist to it, of course. But definitely watch this one, guys. Again, go in knowing that it's kind of typical in the beginning and kind of slow, and you don't really know where it's going, or at least I didn't, but it turns into this fucking awesome movie. Again, I don't think I've heard anyone say negative things about this, which is why in the beginning I was like, really? Like, I don't really like this one, guys. But then again, like I said, it takes a turn and it just ends up being fucking awesome. So definitely recommend Spiral on Shudder. Fast forward a few days, guys. I ended up rewatching a movie that I've seen years ago, but that is Castle Freak. This was on the 22nd of April now. Castle Freak from 1995, the original Castle Freak, directed by Stuart Gordon. I watched this on Blu-ray by Full Moon. They actually put out their own Blu-ray of this years and years ago, but like I said, directed by Stuart Gordon. We guys stars Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton, back again with Stuart Gordon after they did Reanimator, of course, and a bunch of other movies together. But it's based on a H.P. Lovecraft short story. Now, this is told by Stuart Gordon himself on one of the extras on the Blu-ray, but he basically says he met with Charles Band, who runs Full Moon, right? Met with Charles Band, and Charles Band had a poster on the wall wherever they were at. And it just said Castle Freak on it, and it had this weird fucking mongoloid freak, right? And that was it. That's all Charles Band had. It was a poster and a title. And Stuart Gordon was like, can I make that? And Charles Band said, yeah, as long as it has that castle and that freak in it, you can make it however you want. So Stuart Gordon knew of this Lovecraft story, short story, The Outsider, about this guy who was locked in a castle, and he comes out and he sees this weird freak, and he ends up seeing that that's actually the mirror that he's looking in, and that's himself. But anyway, he took that short story, and that's basically all it is, and it's like a 2-minute scene in the film, but he extended it into a full-length story, full-length film. And it's fucking great special effects. It's about Jeffrey Combs' character, I think his name is John Riley or something like that, and his wife. They inherit this castle from his family that he didn't even know he had. It's like a great aunt of his or something, and it's in Italy, the castle, and they go there, and they're trying to get it ready to sell it. They're like, what the hell do we need a castle for? So they're going through trying to get inventory of what's there and what's not, and eventually they run into this freak that was locked up in the cellar, in the basement, whatever you call a fucking huge thing like this in a castle. I guess it's the cellar. And he gets out, and there's a lot of crazy gore in this shit. There's a lot of Awesome effects. The acting is great. I love Barbara Crampton and Jeffrey Combs, and even the daughter. The daughter, I forget the name of the actress, but she plays a blind girl. So there's that kind of dynamic between the husband and wife, Jeffrey and Barbara, where they kind of have this fucking tension between them because Jeffrey Combs' character is a recovering alcoholic. He got into an accident with his daughter in the car, and that's why she's blind, you know. And they lost a son over that accident too, so that definitely drove a wedge to the marriage, understandably. But yeah, great character, you know, development throughout, and he has to redeem himself by then. But The Freak looks fucking awesome. Again, all done with all practical effects, of course. Scary, like this is a legit scary fucking film. About his fucking, like I said, mongoloid freak. Obviously the name is Castle Freak. But anyway, guys, definitely if you haven't seen that one, definitely check it out. Now, I rewatched that one because I wanted to finally check out the remake. So that same night, as soon as that one finished, I threw on Castle Freak from 2020, directed by Tate Stenziek. Again, I have the Blu-ray of this, but I believe this one is also actually on Shudder. So if you want to stream this, I believe it's on Shudder or Netflix, one of those two. And now this is a remake. It's not the same. It has some similarities and it has a lot of nods to it, but it's done on a much larger scale. Now there are similarities. Like I said, instead of Jeffrey Combs' character being named John, the boyfriend of the girl is named John. So Rebecca Riley, I think, is the name of the character. That was the name of the daughter in the first one. That's the name of a girl here. She's older though, and it's she who inherited the castle, and the castle is actually in Albania this time, not Italy. I don't know why they made that distinction, but she's the one that inherited the castle, so the name is the same but different, and she's blind, so that also is, you know, a similarity. And like I said, the boyfriend's name is John instead of the father. There's a nod to the original one because the name of the freak is Giorgio Di Dorsino, something like that. So there's a bottle of wine in the cellar in this remake that says Casa Giorgio Dorsino on it. So if you catch that, that's a nod to the original. But the director himself on this one, Tate Stenziek, is a special effects and makeup artist himself. He's been a contestant on Face Off. He's done special effects and makeup for awesome movies like Amazing Spider-Man, Dragged Across Concrete, things like that. So he knows what he's doing as far as special effects. So in that regard, this movie is fucking awesome. Crazy effect throughout the entire thing. The Freak looks awesome in its own way. It looks much different than the original one, but still awesome. The kills are fucking great. People don't like this. I think they don't like it mostly because it's a remake. But this is an awesome modern day horror flick. If you're a 15 or 16-year-old or even younger, whatever, just getting into horror movies, and you watch this movie, it's gonna have an effect on you. Like, this is an awesome modern day horror film. And like I said, it's done on a much larger scale. So while 1995 Stuart Gordon based his film on a short story by H.P. Lovecraft, this entire remake is a nod to H.P. Lovecraft's entire lore created throughout all of his stories. There's the Necronomicon is in this one. There's nods to Miskatonic University and Herbert West. There's all sorts of things. There's huge, crazy monster creatures at the end. Like, this is a very large scale. This entire movie is a love letter to H.P. Lovecraft. So while it is a remake of an original film, it's just exponentially larger in terms of what it wanted to accomplish. So again, yes, compare it to the original if you want, whatever. You want to be a snobby guy, like, I fucking hate remakes, but like, if you want to actually just not be an asshole and uptight all the time, just go in and watch this knowing, like I said, this is a good modern day, like, imagine being 16, 15, 14, 13, 6, whatever age you got into horror, and like, go into that mindset knowing that imagine this effect on you at that age. Like, so awesome, guys. So definitely recommend the original and the remake of Castle Freak. Again, for different reasons, but both are very good films. Next up, guys, fast forwarding a couple of days, Willys Wonderland. Yes, I know a lot of people are talking about this one too, I feel like, but maybe not enough people. This is a film from, 2021, directed by Kevin Lewis. And now I watched this on Blu-ray. I actually got this one in for review, luckily. I haven't done that many reviews on repulsivereviews.com lately, but this is the one that I had done for the first time in well over a month for sure. So if you want to read my full thoughts on it, of course you can read the review on repulsivereviews.com. I will link that down below, and I will try to link Amazon affiliate links for all of these movies that are available on hard copy down below as well. I wanted to mention that now before I forget. But yeah, just so you know, I do get like a penny or two if you do buy through those links, but it does help me out and eventually will accumulate to maybe I'll get $1 eventually. But anyway, guys, I digress. Like I said, the link for the review will be down below. But this is a fantastic film. Nicolas Cage plays actually a silent character. He has no lines in this, but he plays a character that he's just driving through a random town and he happens to have a car accident. It's not really an accident. It was done on purpose. You know those like tire spikes, those strips that cops pull down, put down on the road to stop speeding cars or catch criminals or whatever the fuck police do with those things. That he runs one of those over. So needless to say, his car is shot. All the tires are blown. So ironically enough, or conveniently enough rather, a tow truck comes and picks him up, right? So it's all set up. But anyway, he can't pay for the damages because it's some ridiculous shit that the guy says, $1,500, but I take only cash and the card machine is out and blah, blah, blah. So I have a way for you to work off the damages instead if you stay overnight in this abandoned family fun center, like a Chuck E. Cheese type place, right? So it's Willys Wonderland and it's just run down, boarded up, all sorts of spray paint and shit everywhere. So yeah, just stay overnight, work, clean the place up, and you'll work off your debt to me, and I'll have the car ready for you by the morning, paid off. So he does this, he agrees. Again, no words spoken, just facial expressions, mannerisms, whatever. Nicolas Cage is awesome in this, but he ends up staying the night, and crazy shit happens. The puppeteers, the animatronics of this Willys Wonderland place start coming to life. They start trying to kill him, but he's a badass, right? So he fucking kills them, and it's all sorts of gory, gruesome fun. There's also a group of kids that are like, I guess the equivalent of like activists in this town, and they know the history of this place, and they want to shut it down, so they want to go there at night and burn it down. And they've tried to do this in the past, but blah, blah, blah. The sheriff in town, played by, I believe her name is Beth Grant. She's like a bit character actor from various movies throughout her career. She's definitely a veteran actor in her own right. But she's pretty good as a town sheriff. Again, not the biggest role, but she tries to take care of these kids. Like, stay away from that place. I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Stay out of trouble. Anyway, the kids get there, so they become more victims for these animatronics, right? You need a higher body count somehow, so that's how you get it. That's all I'm going to say, guys. Again, gruesome fun, awesome time. Well, if it's not bloody, gory stuff, it's these animatronics being ripped up, and this oil, like, based gore shit comes out of them. So, if you've seen the Banana Splits movie, think that. Like, think a crazy, awesome adult version of a Scooby-Doo or something like that. Definitely a good time, and definitely recommend it, guys. On that same day, on the 25th, I watched a film called Boys from County Hell. This is from 2020, directed by Chris Baugh, or Bo, or whatever, on Shudder. I watched this on Shudder. Again, hopefully I'll get a Blu-ray of this eventually once it gets released. This is a good one. This one is based in Ireland, about a father and son. They own this company. It's like a construction company, right? And they're the two main characters and a bunch of the son's friends, and they work in the company. Small town in Ireland. The town is actually a place, and the name of the bar is called the Stoker or something like that. And it's just basically a town where legend has it that Bram Stoker visited one time, and because of the legend of the town, he got the idea to write Dracula. So obviously everyone knows Dracula is this vampire, right? So there's this lore in this town that there's a vampire buried there somewhere. Forget the name. It's like Abergast or some shit. It's the name of the town vampire. But there's this cairn, I don't know, C-A-I-R-N, like a memorial stones that are piled up in like pyramid shape. It's called a cairn. I learned that recently. But there's this cairn in the middle of like a farmland that the son's friend owns and his father. And they just happen to get this job where like they have to clear this land out. The town now owns it, and they have to, clear it out for whatever's some buildings and shit that are going to be put there, whatever. So they make the mistake of knocking down that cairn, and basically, spoiler alert, guys, they unleash this fucking centuries-old vampire. So basically, this film is a vampire movie, long story short, with a little twist on vampire lore. They changed some things up, sunlight, garlic, all that shit. That stuff's thrown in there, but kind of thrown out the window at the same time. But it's kind of meta in the way that they actually address it. So, garlic doesn't really work this way, sunlight doesn't really work this way, blah, blah, So it's really fucking fun. The acting is great. The main character, I forget his name, the son, I actually know him from Peaky Blinders. He plays like this fucking awesome boxing kid, if you guys ever saw Peaky Blinders. But great acting all around, great special effects, awesome vampire movie. I haven't seen a vampire movie in a while, so definitely needed that and definitely recommend it. Next up, guys, we're almost done. 2 more. On the 27th, I watched Night of the Living Dead from 1990, the Tom Savini version. I watched this, believe it or not, guys, it's the first time you're ever going to hear me say this, and maybe the last. I watched this on fucking Tubi. Now, I'm sure most of you guys know what this is. I never wanted to believe that this was actually a real thing. I thought it was some fake bootleg shit. But Tubi is apparently a real streaming service that is free and or paid. There are paid versions, but I watched it for free, and there just happened to be ads every once in a while. So it wasn't too bad, but again, and good quality, you know, it was a Blu-ray or better version of the 1990 Night of the Living Dead. Now, the reason I watched this again, I've seen this before multiple times. I fucking love this movie. The reason I watched this is because my good friend Dustin, aka Rotten Roger from 3B Video, asked me to record my thoughts on the film for, I believe, tonight. I'm filming this on Saturday, guys. I don't know when this video is going to come out, but I believe it's tonight, where they're doing a special, you know, Buddies Forever episode where him and Evil talk about 1990 Night of the Living Dead. So he wanted to get thoughts from other YouTubers and friends and things. So I said, yeah, I'll definitely rewatch it. Now, I have the Blu-ray from Twilight Time for this movie, but it's still sealed after all these years because I heard that Blu-ray quality is trash. There's like a blue tint to the whole film that just looks like garbage. So I never bothered opening it. At another point in time, I owned the Umbrella releasing. They're from Australia, that company, I believe. I had an Umbrella release for the original 68 Night of the Living Dead, and it also featured the 1990 version. I think I ended up selling that Blu-ray last year, or even the year before that sometime, when another Blu-ray was announced. I was like, oh, I'll sell this and get the new one, and I never fucking got it, of course. I'm an idiot. So I didn't want to watch the blue-ass tinted fucking version, so that's how I ended up on Tubi, long story short. Anyway, guys, the movie itself is fucking fantastic. You already know what Night of the Living Dead is about. It's about a zombie outbreak, and a small group of people are stuck in a house, and they need to survive the night, right? And survive this zombie outbreak. They don't call them zombies. They don't really call them ghouls or anything either, but they just know the dead are coming back to life. Now, this one stars Tony Todd as Ben. Tom Towles shows up again, and so does Bill Moseley. Bill Moseley plays Johnny, Barbara's brother. You know, they're coming to get you, Barbara. He doesn't last very long, if you know the story. But Barbara is played by Patricia Tallman, does a fantastic job. Tony Todd does a fantastic job. Tom Towles does a fantastic job as Harry Cooper. He plays a real fucking prick in this one. And him and Tony Todd's characters, they're fighting the whole fucking movie, and it's great. Pacing of this film is fantastic. I love it from start to finish. Again, if you know the original Night of the Living Dead, you know the story. But this one's pacing is so much better. Again, the characters, I fucking love them. Even when you're not supposed to love them, I love everything about them. The gore is fantastic. You know, Savini at the helm, he's gonna have top-notch gore. So even though he wasn't the only one actually in charge of effects, you know his team did a fantastic job. The ending is a little different than the original, but you know, it was done 30 years later. It's gonna be a little different. It still fits in perfectly with the time, just like the 1968 one fit in perfectly with that time. Again, can't say enough good things. If you want to hear more thoughts from me, even though I just pretty much said everything, catch that Buddies Forever episode tonight, Saturday night, and you'll see my clip. It's like a 5-minute review, so a little longer than what I just said here. But definitely recommend Tom Savini's Night of the Living Dead if you haven't seen it already. And if you have, rewatch it, because it's that good. Anyway, guys, the last one here to talk about, and it's another great one, so we're ending on a good note. On the 29th of April, I watched Psycho Gorman from 2020, directed by Steven Kostanski. I watched this on Blu-ray. I have the Ultra Limited Edition, Ultimate Edition, Hunky Boy Edition, whatever it's called, from Raven Banner. Fantastic film, guys. This one has been hyped up for a while now. It's been out officially for a few months, I believe. And everyone's been saying how great it is. I'm like, man, how great can this really be? But it's pretty fucking fun. This movie is like a mix between Power Rangers with Monster Squad thrown in a little bit, and I had a lot of Wishmaster vibes. So this is basically about an alien being from the planet Gygax. He doesn't have a name, but his people from his planet call him the Archduke of Nightmares. But he's this big fucking brooding awesome creature, and his whole sole purpose is to just kill everybody, go to other planets, kill their whole population, take over. He was imprisoned by some sort of stone, I forget the name, Aphrodisiacs or some bullshit name. And these two main characters are little children, Mimi and Luke. They have to be like 11 or younger. I forget, they might even mention their age in the film, but two little kids, they're playing this game that they call Crazy Ball. They invented this, and it's a big part of the movie. But Crazy Ball, and there's part of the Crazy Ball game where the brother loses, he has to dig his own grave in the backyard. And when they're digging, they come across this fucking alien stone, and they unlock it somehow. And Mimi takes it, and she basically now controls this alien being. She ends up calling him Psycho Gorman, or PG for short. The girl who plays Mimi is fantastic. Luke, the actor who plays Luke, is fantastic. The father is played by Adam Brooks, who him and Steven Kostanski, the director, and a bunch of other guys you guys know, are behind the production group known as Astron 6. This director also directed Father's Day and The Void, also Astron 6 movies. Father's Day, I do want to revisit it. I got the Blu-ray like last year just so I could revisit that movie. I don't think I've ever actually finished it because I just thought it was so fucking absurd. But The Void was awesome, and you know, they've done other shit. The Editor is like a modern day Giallo homage or tribute or ode to, whatever you want to say. But Adam Brooks is also in The Editor. He's probably in all of them, from, you know, I just don't remember. But he's great as the father, just some goofy. He's constantly called lazy, and he is one of the laziest motherfuckers around. I don't know who plays the wife, but she was great too. And of course, the guy who plays Psycho Gorman is awesome. The special effects are fantastic. There are some, I believe, very little CG effects, but for the most part, it's all practical effects, all, you know, makeup effects and costumes and puppetry and all that shit. So fantastic film. Obviously comedy mixed with horror, mixed with sci-fi, but like I said, reminds me so much of fucking Power Rangers from the 90s, just because there's a whole bunch of other characters that come from the planet Gygax, and they either try to help or hurt, you know, fucking kill Psycho Gorman. There's the Templars, are the people who are supposed to protect the planet, so they come and, you know, they try to fucking kill Psycho Gorman. But great fucking film, a lot of fun. I definitely see myself revisiting that one multiple times. And like I said, Mimi, she's fucking adorable. She's awesome. Their song, I'm the heckin' best. So fucking good. Such a great movie. And definitely a fun one. Obviously one that you don't need to go in and be serious, because if you are and you're gonna be too serious, just don't even bother, because you're an uptight asshole. But that's it, guys. That's it. I made it through. Hopefully you guys made it to the end. A lot of great movies. Like I said, the worst ones were probably Homesick and Rotten Tail. Homesick is still, like I said, worth a watch if you're an Adam Wingard fan. Rotten Tail, just skip it. Don't worry about it. Not necessary. Even around Easter time, just not necessary. But everything else, for the most part, fucking great. So if you can hunt down a copy or find it streaming or download whatever illegal shit you do to get it, definitely watch it, and hit me in the comments below and let me know what you think once you have watched it. Or if you've already seen them, hit me in the comments and let me know what you think. What did you watch this month? Did you watch any of the same shit as me? Do you agree or disagree with my statements about the films if you've already seen them? I would love to hear everything from you guys. Of course, I'm going to be filming I'll probably do my haul video after this. Just to get out of the way, and then I'll upload that obviously tomorrow morning. Every horror movie I've watched in April, I don't know when it's going to be uploaded because I got to spend some time editing it, but hopefully within the next couple of days for sure. I also plan on doing a separate haul video for the Vinegar Syndrome April package, so a lot of shit coming up. Like I said, guys, if you liked what you saw here or you liked my haul videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you would like to support the channel anyway, I have merch links down below. I have Amazon wishlist down below if you want to provide me with some awesome things to open on camera. I always open up all the packages on camera, of course. So Amazon wishlist, merch links, social media links, repulsivereviews.com. I said I'll put that review for Willys Wonderland link down below, as well as Amazon affiliate links if you want to purchase any of these that I spoke about. And I think that's it, guys. I hope everyone is doing well, happy and safe. Thank you for watching, and until next time, peace out and be good.